Alright guys, Gemini back with another video, and thank you for tuning in. And in this video today, for everyone watching, I'm so flattered and grateful that you guys are watching. It means a lot to me. So what we're going to do in this video today is I'm going to show you 10 WWE DVDs that can teach you a lot about pro wrestling history. Most of you know pretty much everything about wrestling, you know, and stuff. I mean, we're all hardcore fans on here, but in my opinion, these are 10 DVDs that can teach you a lot about the annals and the history of professional wrestling by just owning these 10 DVDs. So let's get started. First one up in the 10 is the CM Punk DVD Blu-ray. The reason why this will teach you so much, if you're this is the CM Punk DVD. Wow, it'll blow you away because you'll learn so much about his time when he got so white hot in wrestling. It's just, you could learn so much around the WWE and what it was like in 2011, 2012 when he just took over the world. And so that's why I say you learn a lot from that. If most of you have seen it already, but yeah, that one was, I learned a lot from that, and I learned a lot about CM Punk. Outside of the ring. Ultimate Warrior, the new one, Always Believe. Man, you could learn so much on this one about old school WWF and what the Warrior was like back in the day, you know, and he's got such a bad rep from the destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. But yeah, you can learn a lot about old school matches and old school wrestlers and just like what the WWF was like in the late 80s when he wrestled. Pretty historical stuff. Of course, the Macho Man, you could learn a ton from. You could learn so much and see so many old school matches and maybe be introduced to old school wrestlers that Savage used to wrestle. And you could learn about his history, because Macho Man was one of the biggest influencers in wrestling history. And then, of course, if you really want to learn about WCW and NWA and what wrestling was like on the other show back in the 80s, it's the Ric Flair Ultimate Collection. I had this autographed by Barry Windham, and I should have had him sign my Horseman DVD. But yeah, this one I had Barry Windham sign it because he has a whole chapter, you know, feuding with Barry Windham on it. And you'll learn a lot about WCW and the NWA in the 80s on that DVD. Okay, I picked Piper out because Piper, you'll learn so much about him. You'll learn so much about the WWF in the early 80s. You'll learn so much about WrestleMania 1. It's pretty amazing stuff. And then I picked the Mr. Perfect one because you can learn a lot about Curt Hennig. You can learn a lot about Minnesota wrestling and the AWA. And maybe some stories and some vignettes that you hadn't learned before. You know, like for instance when he came up and did all those vignettes in '88. I remember watching that on Superstars and thinking, wow, this guy really is perfect. But one thing that's cool on there is he wasn't perfect, and he did mess up on those vignettes. You know, when he's throwing the basketball backwards and all that stuff, he did mess up a lot. But yeah, that'll take you back to the old school 80s. And then another one that, it sounds weird, but yeah, you can learn a ton from this one too. Money in the Bank 2011 with Punk and Cena. You can learn so much about the rise of CM Punk, which he impacted wrestling in a huge way in 2011. And then I picked WrestleMania 17. If you want to learn about the height of the Attitude Era, which is a historical period in wrestling, this was the height of the Attitude Era, and WrestleMania was never higher than it was on that day in the Astrodome. So this DVD will teach you a lot about what the height of the Attitude Era was like. And then, of course, you have Undertaker, the History of The Undertaker, the 3-disc set. This one's a must to learn about the Undertaker's career in the WWE and WWF. You'll learn so much about the Undertaker on that. And then the last one, Spectacular Legacy of the AWA. A lot of people probably still have this one in the shrink wrap or don't have this one because it's not necessarily new and flashy and it's old and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this will teach you all about the heritage of wrestling, which came from Minnesota. Like I said, Vern Gagne in the cold, in a barn. And it'll teach you a lot, man. This is where Hulkamania started, and Hulkamania changed wrestling, and it's definitely an influencer. So those are 10 DVDs that I felt had historical relevance. 10 DVDs that I felt like maybe a new wrestling fan today could put those 10 DVDs in and be like, wow. You know, they could feel like they're back in 2001 in the Astrodome, or they can feel like they're in 1983 in the Smoky Arena in Minnesota, or they could feel like they're back at WrestleMania 1 with Piper, or they could feel like they're in the AWA with Mr. Perfect, or they could feel like that they're in the late 80s when the Warrior took over and I was one of the kids painting my face, or they could go back to 2011 with CM Punk, the meteoric rise of him and became a megastar, you know, or Ric Flair. You know, it'll take you back and learn about the NWA in the 80s. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. You guys have a great day.